Welcome everybody to the third episode of the Gressel special today. It's a little bit of a gear shifter. We got two MLS greats, two all-time MLS team, like one of my favorite teammates, especially Parky. Bobby was only there for 6 months. But I'm happy to be joined by Michael Parkhurst and Bobby Boswell. And yeah, just how's it going, guys?
What an intro that was, by the way.
Seriously, I am pumped.
You blew my speakers out, man.
Hey, when I saw
how's
that
quarantine life and everything going?
Hey, life is good. No complaints. I mean, family's healthy, so we're just hanging. I mean, we got our good days, our bad days, but at least we got good weather down here in Atlanta, and we can get outside and play. So, making the most of it, like everybody else.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Anytime I can tell Michael that he made a mistake by not playing one more year and collecting free paychecks, it's a good day for me. So, no, things are good here. Things are good here.
That's awesome. That's good to hear, obviously. We actually have a little picture to start us off here. So you should see a little picture here. Bobby, I think you have some explaining to do for this one. I did my homework, don't worry.
Yeah, listen, this is the funny thing about Michael and I, since we're going to be talking to each other today, is the early New England teams and the DC teams, when we both came in the league, we hated each other. And I later found out from Steve Ralston that those guys all hated me. And it was probably some of it was because of crap like that off the field. But I was also one of those guys that would rep the crowd and get them all hyped up during and after games. And that kind of didn't fit the MO of the New England Revolution at the time. So, that stuff was all fun and games off the field. But on the field, I think Michael doesn't hate anybody. But I think that if you had to pick a guy that team didn't like on our team, for off the field antics, it was definitely me.
I don't know if you noticed, Bobby, but you see a title change down there below your name. Did you see that? Former Virginia sexiest man.
Yeah.
As a fitting title.
What was great was about that whole thing was they didn't have a DC candidate. So I didn't even live in Virginia, and I represented Virginia. And I played for Peter Novak at the time, and he absolutely hated that whole process. They asked him if I could miss a playoff game to go up to New York to do some promotional stuff for it. And he put it into pretty much all the off-the-field antics after that.
I mean, you were ahead of your time. That looked like a Tinder profile picture right there.
Did you actually get to know your wife through that, or no?
Nope. I met my wife like every other normal human at a bar on a Sunday. But no, I definitely would have used that as my Tinder. I would have put it like, I'm respectable. I would have put it like 3 or 4 photos back, so they'd have to stumble. They'd have to stumble on it like a humble brag at the end, Mike. So, we didn't have that crap. We didn't have that crap back then, and I'm kind of upset, to be honest. I think I would have liked that to use it in my repertoire of things. I would have stopped going out as much if I could meet people on the internet.
I bet. Parky, what did you remember of the time? Obviously, when you guys started together, Bobby didn't get drafted. You got drafted as a number 8 pick. And what do you remember about that time? Kind of the first 3 years in New England. Did you know about Bobby? Obviously, he won the MLS Defender of the Year before you. So, those things obviously sting maybe a little bit. But how was that time for you?
Yeah, I mean, Bobby wasn't far off in his assessment. I mean, us and DC had a good rivalry back then. They had good teams every year, like we did. Bobby obviously was always a hard-nosed defender that liked to kick Taylor. I don't blame him at all. So for sure, I mean, nobody in our locker room loved Bobby. And I think Bobby and I probably had a little competition. I mean, not even knowing each other. We never really crossed paths much, Bobby, you and I, outside of just playing each other. But, 2 young defenders who had pretty immediate success in the league. And so, obviously for the first 4 years, we were both in the league, competing against each other as far as, best 11s and defender of the year and all-star and that type of stuff. And so, yeah, for sure. I mean, we had that rivalry, not only personally, but, our teams as well. And it's a shame that we didn't become teammates until so late in our careers, because, I mean, what an awesome teammate Bobby Boswell is. Holy smokes. I was missing out. I was missing out most of my career, honestly.
That's code for I'm an idiot.
You don't hate him after all. Only those first few years, I guess. Did you guys ever play together in the All-Star game when you get selected together, or no?
No, Michael didn't hate me because he won Rookie of the Year, and then he won Defender of the Year right after I did. And DC, we always beat New England in the regular season, but they would get the last laugh in the playoffs when it mattered the most. So it was, I always say some of those DC teams I was on, they should have won MLS Cup, and the only problem is we just couldn't get through New England. And I kind of learned later, joining Houston, we were a really tough team in the playoffs, and I think New England had that grittiness, and they could grind a team, get one goal and just sit back and defend like crazy and win the game. So, he doesn't have anything to be bitter about. He kind of did everything. He won the awards, and he eventually got his trophy, which was the one thing that eluded me in my career.
Yeah, I mean that obviously I was part of that, so that's pretty special for us there. But then obviously, I mean, Parky also did something that you didn't do. He actually went over to Europe, which I know you tried. But how was that? Was that the right decision for you ultimately, or why did you not try and take that step over there?
So he was actually a guy that I looked at, him and Clarence Goodson, because they went to Scandinavia, and at the time I really just wanted to go and play in a World Cup. I knew I wasn't going to get, England wasn't an opportunity, and we kind of talked about Germany on a different podcast, but I kind of figured what was my best bet of making a World Cup team, and I talked with Bob Bradley. And he had guys in Scandinavia, but there was no one in Turkey, right? And Turkey's a different league. And I thought maybe that would be a route I could take. But, I got injured while I was there, and it didn't work out the right way for me. And Parky ended up having a great career. And he'll talk about his experiences over in Scandinavia and then in Germany. But, it is what it is. I'm more upset that I didn't get a chance to go to the World Cup, and it didn't have as much to do with about getting an opportunity in Europe. It was more about using Europe to make my way to a World Cup via the national team.
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't know where he went.
He's probably drinking a margarita, and he doesn't want anyone to.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously very interesting that you've looked at Parky as a kind of role model in that sense, or kind of what it would be like. I guess how was the time, Parky? Was it the right decision for you? And then kind of what was it like?
For me, it was the right time to go over to Europe. I was out of contract with New England, and there wasn't a concrete offer on the table from them, and I wanted to try something new, change it up. The Revs at that time were going through a changing of the guard as well. Our time had come and gone as far as being a championship team, I thought. And so I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to see if I could do it over in Europe. And honestly, I was hoping to go to a bigger league than Denmark, but it turned out to be a really good fit for me. I'm so glad I went and got the experience that I did. Obviously, having won the league title and got it playing Champions League is like every kid's dream to play in Champions League. So that in itself made it worthwhile.
That's awesome. I mean, you played against Chelsea in the group stage, correct?
Yeah.
Bobby actually scored against Chelsea, so you guys got a little something in common there too. I know Bobby likes to tell that story a lot. Hey, I'm the
Yeah.
one guy that scored against Chelsea. Look, your title changed again. Look at that.
Yep.
We're ready over here.
Nothing like scoring against them in preseason versus playing against them in Champions League. Those are very equivalent things in my opinion.
Well, if it makes
Yeah.
you feel any better, we gave up 10 goals in 2 games, so.
Hey, you still got to walk out to that anthem 6 times. That must have been
Yeah.
one unbelievable feeling. You played every single minute in that group stage as well, correct? Right before you went to
Yeah.
Germany?
Yep. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's great. That's amazing. And then obviously, I mean, Bobby, you played in Houston and then went back to DC, and then ultimately the three of us became teammates in Atlanta. Obviously, very different circumstances for kind of all three of us. Um, what was your thought when you got traded to Atlanta, Bobby, to kind of start? I know you came right in the middle of the season there.
Yeah, it was interesting because I think DC was trying to make some moves, and I got traded. I talked to Bocanegra. He's like, "Hey, we want you down here immediately." They didn't offer to use the NAGB jet to get me down there. I had to drive like a normal human, but yeah, I went to DC's training that morning because they hadn't announced it yet, and Ben made me do blood work because he didn't even know I had been traded yet, which was interesting. But I get down there and I kind of knew the team. I knew I didn't really think the team needed me at all. I didn't understand the trade. I kind of looked at it from Jeff's perspective and obviously Michael's perspective. And I think I wouldn't have been too thrilled if I were them because it's like, what's this guy really going to bring or what do we need? And he doesn't fill it. But I kind of knew behind the scenes that Bocanegra had a plan for me. I think he wanted me to run, as the captain for the USL team that was coming the next year, and then to have some kind of role with the academy as a coach or something in social media. So it was cool to have someone that had a plan for you long term. But at the time, I was just all I wanted to do was play soccer, and I didn't want the ride to end. So I wasn't looking at getting out of MLS. I was just thinking, okay, maybe I have an opportunity to play for a winning team here because DC we were struggling that final year I was there.
Except against us. I mean, we couldn't. With Atlanta, we couldn't beat you guys.
Yeah,
in the regular season for anything.
We were your kryptonite, I guess. But I say it's one of those where the law of ratios. You play 10 times, you probably win 8 of them, but the 2 of that year you'd lose to DC was kind of funny. But I think, like I said, in the end, you guys always seem to get the last laugh in the playoffs and MLS Cup.
Yeah, I mean, we could have used a playoff goal out of you there in that Columbus game too.
Yeah, well, I blew my chance. My 7 minutes, I could have scored a goal, and I'm not joking, man. Those guys didn't forgive me for missing that. I know like no one really remembers that play. I do because it was the only real relevant play.
I remember it.
And I think it was like Michael Bradley blocked it, I think, or the goalie, and I think it was Manu or one of those coaches was like, "We don't understand how you missed it," and I went from maybe I'll start to not even dressing. So it was cool. It was interesting to just to see what would happen. It sucked to be honest. Not you don't know if you're even going to be on the team or in the press box. So
yeah. I mean, your time in Atlanta, Parky, was obviously very different. You came in, got traded. When I got in there, when I came in as well as a rookie, and then you became the first captain. You ultimately finally won MLS Cup, and obviously I want to ask you about that. How did that make you feel? How was that for you? I mean, I know kind of what it felt like for you because I mean we talked a lot and we were pretty close. But what was that time like for you? I think we have a little picture to show actually as well as you give your answer here of us too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Great memories from that night. Yeah, it was tough leaving Columbus. I mean, I thought I'd finish my career there, and so honestly disappointed to be traded. But I mean, everything happens for a reason, right? And go down to Atlanta, and you hear that they're putting together a good team, and they're spending a lot of money. Obviously, the stadium, amazing, but I don't think anybody knew it was going to be what it was. I mean, even myself signing on with the team, you don't think it's going to be that type of atmosphere, that type of support from the fans. It was just crazy what happened down there and how it took off. Um, you expect to sell out the first game as a new franchise, but for it to happen over and over and over again, it's just amazing what Atlanta United's done here in the market, what the team was able to do on the field in such a short amount of time. Um, you know, so I really enjoyed it. I'm so thankful I got to end my career in Atlanta playing in front of those types of crowds because Bobby can tell you, I mean, shoot, the crowds that we played in front of our first few years in MLS, I mean, Chicago playing in Arrowhead Stadium, I mean, the Metro Stars Stadium, Salt Lake. I mean, these were some terrible environments, terrible fields. I mean, it was just MLS 1.0, maybe point 0.5. And, to see where it is now, I mean, led by Atlanta and maybe now LAFC, it was just really cool to be able to end the career there and obviously win a championship along the way.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I obviously was very fortunate to come into a situation like that as well, and I had guys like you know, to connect with and to lean on to ultimately make an impact right away. And I'm obviously very, very thankful for that. But now you both kind of recently, one a little bit sooner, made the decision to retire. Um, how has that transition been? What's it like in the real world? I guess, Parker, you haven't been in there for too long, so it's not really too real for you yet, obviously, with this whole lockdown situation. But Bobby, what has it been like for you the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's different. There's a reason guys tell you to play as long as you can. It's a unique lifestyle, and I didn't want to retire. I just didn't get an offer to play anywhere but the USL, and I wasn't really going to do that. But it's different. You don't have as much free time. You don't get paid to work out. You're not traveling as much. Like the things that I miss are just so weird. I miss like the 2 and 3 hour flights, right? Because you get to get on an airplane and you can read whatever you want, or you can listen to whatever you want, or you can sleep. You can, you have this alone time and the excitement of going somewhere new. So there's just little things like that. The free time you really miss, and obviously the camaraderie with the guys. I'm fortunate enough that I have a pretty good network of friends, and I still communicate with guys regularly. But it's hard to replace a lifestyle that the professional sports gives you. But with that being said, I always knew it was going to be done. I didn't make like Parkhurst type money when I played, so I always knew I was going to have to get a real job. And I prepared for that. So I'm happy with where I'm at in my life. I'm a happy dude. But yeah, obviously I would prefer to still be kicking a ball around and playing on the weekends. But I was slow as molasses. I don't even know if that's a saying, but I was slow as molasses when I played, and I got even slower now. So I still work out, and it's like, yeah, I think I played a round of golf recently, and I pulled a calf muscle, so it's like I'm probably not capable of playing anymore. And you get reminded by that. Father Time always wins.
That's great. That's funny. But Parky, don't let him make fun of you like that. I know you're working for a tech startup, right? Because my wife actually works for the same company, so we're still pretty connected through that. How is that going?
Yeah, that's right. I'm employed, Mr. Boswell. Yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's keeping me connected to the game in a way that I never thought I would be. I always want to stay involved with soccer. It's been so good to me in my life, and so I always want to stay connected to the game. But for now, coaching is out of the question because it's just such a time commitment, and right now I'm looking so much forward to family time, or I was, and now I'm like, oh man, this is a little too much family time. But no, to be at the kids' events on the weekends and try and assistant coach maybe some of their teams and stuff like that. So coaching takes a back seat right now, and maybe I'll get back to it someday. But yeah, my little side gig with Rippleworks is keeping me connected to the game because they're a technology company that's got a solution that's a performance enhancing platform. So they do a little bit of everything, and I'm trying to introduce that into the game of soccer here in the U.S. at all different types of levels, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning new things. Obviously, it's a different type of environment for me, a lot more meetings, and but it keeps me connected to people in the soccer world. So I get to talk to them and tell them about, what I'm doing now and how I think it could benefit them. So I'm enjoying it for now. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. And obviously, with my wife working at the same company, we've kind of been on some Zoom calls together as well, where I just kind of sneak in sometimes. um, but Bobby, I know you still stay connected to the game, right? I mean, you're an MLS content provider. You're on their shows here and there. You're a PA podcast host. Were a TV commentator for Houston last year as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've always kind of dabbled in social media. I did it when I played. Played for some coaches that were cool with it. Played for some coaches that weren't. I think it was a little ahead of my time. And I tell guys like you that are still doing it, this is the best time to build your base because people want to know what you have to say. And I still get to be around the game, and I watch a lot of soccer. I always watched a lot. I do think I know MLS better than. Pretty much better than everyone, meaning I can watch games and I know what a lot of these coaches are trying to do. And so, I still get to call games here with Glenn Davis and in Houston, but MLS, I always have ideas. They kind of shoot me down a lot. They've got someone that's calling the shots, and I have a real job, so I can't just spend all my time trying to stay relevant that way. But it's fun to be around. I get a lot of crap from people hate my haircut, or they hate what I'm wearing, or they hate the curtains behind me or something. So it's fun to hear guys see something and just tell me what they think. Still relevant in some way.
I think the problem is you're too serious with that stuff on social media. You need to relax. Have a bigger sense of humor.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's just people want what's serious. You got to give them what they want. But we joke about the joking stuff, but even the PA stuff, some of the guys are saying, oh, I want to tell this story about, when I got into a fight, or, and you're like, man, you got to relax. Like, we're not going to do a tell-all on social media. That guys don't realize, I think, the ramifications of what they say, that this is in the universe forever once you put it out. So, I still want to be myself, but not to the extent that we don't want to tell everyone. It's like the night you claim you went home after you won the cup, when everyone took the trophy somewhere else, and you were at home early. So we know what happened. We don't need to tell everybody.
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
That's amazing. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the show. This was awesome, and I know there's a lot more stories that we could talk about. We could probably go on for hours. But that's it for today. And then I'm obviously very thankful to have had both of you guys as teammates, and can call for a friend now, or friends now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to how our relationship continues and seeing what you guys are up to after the soccer life still. And hopefully get to see you guys very soon again. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Good luck. Good luck to you once the season starts. Hope you guys get to start playing soon. I know I'm missing watching the games for sure.
Definitely, we all are. Absolutely, yeah. Best of luck to you, Jules. Congrats on the recent news about becoming a dad.
Thank you.
Happy for you guys. Yeah, and anytime we can help you out, we're here for you, man. So good luck with everything.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye, Bobby.